Chandra Divine Marketing. Hare Krishna. This is
That's Chintamani's current login. I think that I'm under.
you're with Chintamani.
No, I just I was on a shared Zoom account that's hers, so I end up with her names on here a lot when I log in.
Okay, it's all good. Don't worry. I was just surprised that you'd be there because I expect she's there in India. Still, she does move around quite a lot.
I think she is still in Mayapur, last I heard.
Yeah. And Kumkum Devi Rasi, seated in your favorite chair. One prize here. Seated in your favorite chair. Happy to see you. Happy to have you with us. And are you a happy speaker this week, or you're a listener?
At least a little.
At least a little. Okay, very good. We look forward to that. We'll begin first of all with a mini Vandanam as we do, and perhaps more devotees will join us. And who has joined us, by the way, is Leela Moy Prabhu. Joined us means I know he's hosting the Zoom, but he's next door in what would be the Prasadam Hall, but it's not the Prasadam Hall at the moment. It's a work in progress, working area. We've had the builders in, the devotees have had the builders in, and I haven't been useful at all, except to keep out of the way. I thought that's my best use at this time. And doing some adjustment to the area where we used to wash up the plates, and probably will wash up the plates again. But they've done a whole revamp of that little room, and it's bigger than it looks. So those of you who know that room, Seva Rupadiri and Jai Gauranga, it seemed like a very small room, but it's now become bigger. So anyhow, it's a work in progress. So anyhow, so Leela Moy Prabhu was with us, Dana came with us, and Jai Gauranga Prabhu also, and Radha Sundari. But Hare Krishna, Dana, Govinda, Govinda. We're still waiting for news of Abhinavar and Kelly coming down to meet you. So
that would be wonderful. Can't wait.
All right.
Thank you.
Super. And those on Facebook also, our obeisances. I can't see Facebook, to tell you the truth, because I can't find the phone, which is the other connection for the internet, because there's nothing. Normally where it is not, because there is nothing there. Okay, the void has come. Okay, so on Facebook also, we are giving our obeisances to you there and here on Zoom, and those in the recorded version too. So, dear devotees, let us begin mini Vandanam, but full in itself. Somebody's knocking, hopefully not knocking. I'll try and speak quiet. All right. Yes. Anything good? It's Leela Moy, Prabhu. No, it's Leela Moy. Oh, I've got my wrong spec. It's Ishwarananda Prabhu. I think, how can he be there? And please bring a chair and come. Ishwarananda from Salt Lake City, Sweet Lake City. I'm sorry, I've got the wrong name. He is here with us and giving his full obeisances to Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj. I'll turn on the big light, then we can all see. So please, you come into the picture, because I have the computer on wood, as Ishwananda can verify. Verified? Wood saved from the fire. My goodness, they were going to burn this nice wood. But I thought it had a bit more life left in it yet. Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Uttapada Kamalam, Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatam, Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tang Sajivam, Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitanscha. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurataje Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All right, so devotees have been traveling west and east and north and south, and from the south, from Zambia, and from the west, from Salt Lake City, Sweet Lake City, Ishwarananda Prabhu is here. And so we've, Priya Sundari Devidasi has just joined also Leela Moy in the room next door, the Brazilian contingent. And Leela Moy Prabhu has to be in another room because he's got the controlling computer. Otherwise, if we have two at the same time, we get all sorts of strange sound, as you know. All right, so early in the morning here in Vila Govinda Ashram and in South Africa, and completely civilized time for everybody else who's here with us. Oh, because, let's see, because we don't have anyone from Brazil who is in Brazil. So I think everybody else is in a reasonable time zone. All right. So dear devotees, we've come together and lots of traveling this week. And I too am back in base, means Vila Govinda Ashram in Italy. And we've come back from 10 days or 11 days, perhaps, in Latvia with lots of activities, lots of programs. And last week, I was with you? Yes. Oh, last week I was with you. Yes, yes. We kept on going. Only one Zoom I had to cancel, and then I found it was actually fully cancelled. I mean, I informed Devashishu I couldn't do the London Zoom because we were traveling. But then I heard that he also couldn't do it, and so it was cancelled. So we've been together, and I could, well, first of all, I can ask if there are any questions, but then we do have our opportunity to hear a few words from Kumkum. So I think I could start because Kumkum's with us, and she's kindly offered to say something a little, perhaps briefly this week for her strength. But we're happy to see you, Kumkum Devi. And if you would like to start us off with a few words, then we'll be all ears to hear.
My dandavat to you, Maharaj, and all of the Vaishnavas. What a great happiness for me that I can be with you in this form. And I'm actually really encouraged since I heard you mention a particular Kirttan, Maharaj, when you were speaking with devotees like Devashish Prabhu, who was in Sokel at the time, and you brought up Ki Jabi, Bai, and I could read that. It's not one of the most familiar ones, but definitely so encouraging. And I can just read the English. Who will go, O brother? Who will go to cross the ocean of material existence? The wealth and great fortune of this age of Kali is the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. My Lord Gauranga stands at the jetty, ready to ferry his servants upstream across this material existence. For no charge, he is immediately taking them. For no charge, he is immediately taking them. The ferry boat is the holy names of the Lord, and the spiritual master is the captain. The oars are the outstretched arms in the Sankirtan. The favorable wind is divine love for Lord Krishna, and all the fallen souls have been rescued on this boat. Only Lochan Das is left behind due to the faults of his own misdeeds. So we're very indebted to Lochan Das Prabhu to express what Mahaprabhu is actually doing in this wonderful way, this incredibly encouraging. There is a teeny caveat that the wind is the divine love for Lord Krishna, so we have a little work to do.
Jane, it's so encouraging, and it's a little less hidden in Vila Govinda because we do come back to this song, because once it was discovered, we wanted to keep it flowing. And by the way, the very next Kirtan in the songbook is also a little less known and is super wonderful. And anyway, there's a little list of less known kirtans, which is super wonderful. And one of them is right at the end of the songbook, almost at the end, and it's 8 flower offerings to Mahaprabhu by Srila Guru Maharaj. And so there are hidden treasures within the kirtan guide. But yes, this is so like graphic in its analogy, giving us the analogy of the ferry, the jetty, the boat, Mahaprabhu calling us to board that boat. Hare Krishna. And would you like something else? This is today your contribution, Kum Didi, or a little further to say?
Evening here, and my energy goes down.
Okay, we won't take your energy, but we do appreciate that. And it's that, for those of you looking for that, it's K Jabi Bhai Bhava Sindhu Para Dhanya Kali Juge Re Chaitanya Avatara Amara Gorangera Ghate Ujjana Kea Boy Kari Pati Nahi Lage Amani Para Hoy. And Lochandas Thakur saying is here also, Amara Goranga Regati. My Lord Gauranga, he is standing there at the jetty, which is, I thought, is also a very sweet expression in this song. Amara Goranga Regati Ujjana Kea Boy. Then that the ferry boat is the holy names of the Lord, and the spiritual master is the captain, and the oars are the outstretched arms in the Sankirtan. Is Harinamera Tarikhani Sri Guru Kandari Sankirtana Keroyala Dui Bahu Pasari. Then Sarva Jiva Udhara Hoilo Premira Bata Se Lochan Paria Roilo Karamero Doshe. Oh dear, the favorable wind is divine love for Lord Krishna. And as Kumkum points out, so we have a little work to do. And all the fallen souls, Sarva Jiva, have been rescued on this boat. Then so everything so positive and so cheerful. And then the last line, Lochana Paria Royalo Karamera Doshe. Only Lochan Das is left behind due to the faults of his own misdeeds. Hare Krishna. It's almost like Mahaprabhu, similar, Mahaprabhu chanting the glories of the holy name, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Savashaktish. Then he's chanting the glories of the holy name, but then saying, but my misfortune is I don't have any taste to chant your holy name. Hare Krishna. The humility of the expert Vaishnavas. And I see somebody called Chintamani. So she is here with us also. We were mentioning you just a little earlier, Marie, did she steal your computer? She's using your internet Zoom connection. So Chintamani with us too. Ganga Leela Devi Rasi also joined us here. Hare Krishna. And during my recent time in Latvia, then I was with Keshavananda Prabhu, who is one of these devotees who is a Kirtan guide enthusiast, by the way. I mean, he is very happy to sing the Kirtans in the Kirtan guide. And we are always happy to be in Kirtan with devotees who appreciate what's being said within the Kirtan, rather than only the Bengali tune, the Bengali song like this, but knowing what is there within the Kirtan. And there is a devotee in particular, one Bengali devotee in particular, Bimalananda Prabhu. We used to sing many bhajans together. And in India, he was Gurudev's servitor. But he knew what he was singing, like all of us, when he's not on autopilot, sometimes not knowing. And he's the one who famously got into trouble, merciful trouble from Gurudev, by following the singing of translation into English, singing to Krishna, "You are my dog and I am the Lord," instead of "I am your dog and you are the Lord," or "You are the Lord and I am your dog." Anyway, Krishna is the Lord and we are his dog, in the sense of trying to be a faithful servitor. But he got the words wrong. And he was following, this was the point, that he asserted, but which Gurudev didn't accept. And I mean, but in all sweetness, and Gurudev chastising him. And Bimanand, if any of you know his face and his demeanor, you can see his like big smile and like big everything while being chastised by Gurudev, and say, "But it wasn't me. I wasn't leading. I was following. I heard you sing it. Foolish." But in general, what I want to say, and he won't mind me saying this, he happily will say this story. It's affection of Gurudev. And we used to make playlists together so that we would be singing in the evening, like a series of kirtans. And because he knows the kirtans and he doesn't have to go looking through the book, and he knows the kirtans, has a good, sharp Bengali memory, but the meaning of the kirtans. And we'd have very lively kirtan in the evening, bhajans, singing the bhajans. Hare Krishna. Yes, Kumkum, thank you very much. And the next in the songbook, by the way, is Bimala Hemma Jini by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. And this is in glorification of, yes, this is all about Mahaprabhu. And then, okay, yes. Anyway, I better be silent because I haven't prepared, but near the end of the book, there are also more kirtans in glorification of Guru Maharaj by Srila Gurudev, which are a little bit hidden. Hare Krishna. Look, Paramananda Prabhu has come along with his associates and another of his associates who's on his way, halfway to Thailand. Halfway to Thailand is Leela Moy right here. He's in the next room. I know others know, but you just joined us. Hare Krishna. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're in Bangkok, the land of the turtles. Dandavat to you all. Hare Krishna. So can we pass the microphone over to Paramananda Prabhu maybe? He is another one who is an enthusiastic kirtan singer because he knows what we're singing. And Paramananda Prabhu, I don't know when you joined, if you heard, but I was just mentioning about this last week. More than a week, I've been with Keshavananda Prabhu in Latvia, and I was just pointing out how he is so enthusiastic as a kirtan singer, because he chooses the kirtan not for the tune, etc., but for the content. And so we've been very happy chanting with the devotees together. And we mentioned that the songbook is a treasure house of hidden treasures. And this is all ignited by Kumkum Devi Dasi, reciting, giving us the bhajan, Ke Jabe Bhai Bhava Sindhu Para. Very inspirational. So Paramanandra, would you or any of your associates like to share a few words?
After this story with Bimalananda, I'm afraid what am I singing, Maharaj, sometimes. Because he just, and that's excusable. I mean, he's a Bengali, obviously, but he just switched Amara and Tamara. Happens sometimes, but for a Westerner who doesn't have any idea about the Bengali, a tiny bit of an idea, acquired idea, but not a native speaker, and really, what am I singing? How am I pronouncing it? That's a big question. And as we said so many times, Srila Govinda Maharaj must have observed our mechanical singing. So repeatedly, he asked devotees, please try to understand what you're saying. Please try to understand what you're saying. Obviously, he could, I mean, for him, it's the language. It's like if we are singing in English or Russian or Thai, we can relate to that very easily, and we can actually have certain feelings about it. But singing mechanically, just because it's a part of the ritual, will not bring a desired effect. There's no doubt about it. Some kind of a parrot-like repetition. And that goes into the category of niyama agraha, following without understanding in that case. So must understand. And why Keshavananda is so enthusiastic? Because something touched his heart. So he's speaking something that actually touched his heart, but how can it touch his heart without him understanding what he was saying? So that actually shows the person understands the prayers. And it's a preferred language for our temple programs. We sing in Bengali and Sanskrit, obviously. So that's our job to understand, being a Western person, not a part of that culture. And it's beautiful. I mean, the language is beautiful. And there's lots of Sanskrit and Bengali too. I mean, it's almost like we can say a village Sanskrit in a way. May I be forgiven? They're probably laughing right now about that comment. But you can see so many, you can hear so many Sanskrit words. And Sanskrit is a beautiful language. Not that in my lifetime I can ever understand or learn anything substantial about it. Once Govinda Maharaj was asked how one can learn Sanskrit. And basically his comment was, besides that you have to be born into that kind of environment, you have to start at the very young age, like 5. He said something around 5, or I mean, like a young child will have to absorb it. And that's why there's this particular age of entering Gurukula. The teachers, the guru's ashram, the teacher's ashram indicated as 5 years old. That's when a child should enter that ashram and to study, to observe that if he really wishes to understand anything. And then Srila Govinda Maharaj also commented that he met many different Sanskrit scholars and pundits claiming that they knew Sanskrit. But actually, the only person that he actually mentioned 2. And the second one, you probably know, Maharaj, I forgot the name of that gentleman who was in Calcutta, and Govinda Maharaj considered him to be the actual scholar, Sanskrit scholar, and Guru Maharaj had respect for him. So Guru Maharaj was the first, and that gentleman was the second, but I don't remember his name, do you? Maharaj, Mike?
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I understand he's, this is about the Sanskrit pronunciation.
Pronunciation, yes.
And he's the one that during the Durga Puja time, and everybody who's been to Calcutta knows that Durga Puja is rather a big festival. But during that time, everywhere, basically, they play one recitation of a certain section of the Veda, presumably relevant to Durga. And it's in very sweet Sanskrit, even for us who don't really know Sanskrit at all. But just the sound vibration is very sweet. And they play it over the loudspeakers in a very respectful way. And that, when he passed away, they stopped playing it and played something else. But then the whole population of Calcutta, which is a lot of millions of people, anyway, everybody objected. And so they brought back again the
recording,
traditional recording. Yes. So I don't recall his name, but Gurudev also appreciated it. And I remember being in Dum Dum Park and Gurudev listening to that each morning at that time when it's played, which I think for some days it's played. And Gurudev very much relishing that pronunciation. Yes, but that's about pronunciation. Yes.
And of course, Guru Maharaj, I mean, you can see his compositions, how many different meters he used. Really, this is like the top Sanskritin. Not just the Sanskritin, the dry term of the Sanskritin, but also the one who are actually using it properly, that language, for its proper purpose. It is also mentioned that Sanskrit is the language of gods. It is freely spoken in the higher planets, and mostly used in the glorification of the Lord. So Guru Maharaj put it to a proper use, 100, 1000%, and beautifully so. Like so many different meters, and some meters are so complex, we're still struggling with recitations. It's that complex. But at the same time, it's so beautiful. It's not something that, oh, it's too much. No, you want to recite it properly because it's so sweet. There's so much in it. It just captures your heart. So in a similar way, I mean, I can say I'm quite enthusiastic about kirtans, but about kirtans that I understand, the meaning of the songs that I understand, the meaning of the songs that touch my heart. And I'm a little bit hesitant about singing something mechanically, even though sometimes I have to do it. But like Maharaj, that's why I like to have a book in front of me so that I can at least read the translation. And it was a very good, and I was very discouraged in the temple for quite some time during the Mangala Arati. And it took me some time to remember the meanings of the songs, but I just couldn't hear because, as you know, in our temple, there are lots of noise and you cannot hear any words. So instead, I just couldn't really. I would just go to Gurudev's veranda at 3:45. And I think maybe 4:10, the cocker will open the door and I will just sit there. And Govinda Maharaj asked me once, why? I said, Gurudev, I just couldn't hear anything. He said, oh, okay, no problem. So he was quite permissive for me to be there all alone with Govinda Maharaj and the servant. And one day I felt quite bad about not being at the Aratik, and I tried to sneak away, but Govinda Maharaj stopped me and he said, this is your Mangal Arati. So pointing me at the floor and sitting here. But again, it's not something uniform. I don't know why he did that. Maybe he knew I was going to go back and hear all the banging, but not able to follow anything. So that's very important. Anyhow, and we all have our favorite songs, our favorite prayers. And what we're doing, we're actually repeating the prayers by composed by absolutely inconceivable personalities, the inhabitants of that world. And that's our sadhana, that's our practice every day. And I'm quite often surprised that after so many years of singing, very few can understand what it means. Like sometimes you just talk and you ask some devotee and you can see that they don't understand what they're singing. I mean, I'm not trying to blame anybody, I'm not pointing fingers. I can point finger at myself, it's pretty easy. I need to go. Krishna is a different case. There's a Gyana Shunya Bhakta. Different qualification, I have to say, very high qualification that I can only aspire for. But there's young brahmachari, And it is said that one of the purpose of being a brahmachari is to have a good memory, good brain. So they have a huge capacity to not only memorize, but to understand, to observe the meanings of the verses. So I was quite impressed. In the beginning, I thought, oh, this Ram Sundar, he probably memorized the whole Premadhammadeva Stotram, just like a parrot. So I tested him, I put him to the test. So did Mangal Maharaj, by the way, in India, I heard. It was quite a test for him. Just randomly giving numbers, not even like the first lines of the verses. Just randomly giving numbers. So they have to recite the Sanskrit part and give a good explanation of that. And this young brahmachari here, he's quite capable of doing that. I was quite surprised. So this is a good way to put your brahmachari life to a proper use. There is no other meaning for that. We're not just trying to be celibate and to go to heavenly planets. Apparently, this is what happens when you're a lifelong brahmachari. You attain heavenly planets. This is not the purpose for us. It's seva. And to become a capable, what is it? Conductor? Yes, conductor. So that you can convey the ideals that you are appreciating so much. You observe it to yourself to others. So that's the main purpose of this whole ashram of brahmachari, sannyas, and any other ashram. That's Daiva Varnashram. So many people thinking, oh, we just become grihastha, vanaprastha, kshatriya, brahman, build some kind of Vedic village. This is the purpose. It's actually nonsense. That's just to be blunt about it. Daiva Varnashram means quite a different thing. That means every ashram has to be fully dedicated, absolutely dedicated to one purpose only, to fulfill his desire, to give him satisfaction, to satisfy his dearmost. That's the purpose of anything in the world, including the ashrams. So I'm passing the microphone to the capable brahmachari here. Let's see what he can say. I mean, it's a good subject to talk about Bengali, Sanskrit verses, bhajans, and how to understand their meaning and not be mechanical.
And I can't say I tested him, but I happily asked him some verses from the Premadhammadeva Stotram, as you're saying. And he was immediately, without umming and ahhing, he was like immediately catching the verse, catching the meaning. So we appreciate that very much. And
You're
just
a gentleman, Maharaj. I am not. I was quite ruthless.
Okay, that's your comment. But I have another comment about what you were saying too. And you see that Srila Guru Maharaj, about Sanskrit, Srila Guru Maharaj spoke conversational Sanskrit in his home. And he was brought up not only 5 years old, but 0 years old and in the womb, hearing Sanskrit. And that's also a very rare family, where at home you'll be talking in Sanskrit. And Hapanya used to be that kind of a place where the residents of Hapanya were, a very noble and qualified Brahmin section. And that's why Srila Guru Maharaj also, Srila Gurudev also, he wanted to give some specific recognition of Guru Maharaj, because he said, nowadays everyone's using Goswami, like for anybody, such and such Goswami, this Goswami, but Goswamis should be a very high title, but because it's being just used anywhere and everywhere, maybe not exactly anywhere and everywhere, but more or less it's being widely used, no matter the actual qualification of the person. Then Gurudev duly considered, and due to Guru Maharaj's high birth, and that, when we read in the scripture about high birth, it is not about birth, it's about qualification. But when you're in a very high birth and have the qualification, it's very special. And so this is the reasoning that Srila Gurudev used for giving the title Dev Goswami Maharaj. And then now we also have heard people using Dev Goswami for others, and we've tried to explain why Guru Maharaj gave this, but apparently to no avail. So, just to know how these things happen. So Gurudev spoke that conversational Sanskrit from the very beginning. So he knew the nuances of the language as well as the grammatical, this, that, and the other. Yes, Ram Sundar Prabhu. That gave you a few seconds to compose a thought or two. Are you going to tell us now in conversational Sanskrit?
Well, I guess on the theme of verses in Sanskrit, I was thinking because like in the beginning you hear so many things, and then like that Guru Maharaj, he speaks conversational Sanskrit, then these are his own compositions. And then you learn how like refine his compositions in the gradation of like Sanskrit they are. And then it just keeps getting more refined. I was thinking specifically about verse 2 of Premadama Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, because he was the first one of like the original person to start distributing all of Guru Maharaj's own original compositions. So he'd be walking around chanting Premadama and the songs about Saraswati Thakur and such. And that he said about verse 2 that I find that this verse has the same quality as Rupa Goswami's verses. And so we know that like, Guru Maharaj is the Rupanugadara, he's the holder of Rupa Goswami's current. So it must be on par, the quality, otherwise how can you be in that position? And
can we hear the verse, by the way?
The verse number 2 is Swarna Koti Darpanarva Dehavarna Gauravam Padma Parijata Ganda Vanitanga Sauravam Koti Kama Morchitangri Ruparasa Rangaram Premadama Devadevam Nami Gaura Sundaram. And why Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj said that, because that verse is saying that Mahaprabhu is like millions of golden reflective mirrors. His aura is the same color as millions and millions of molten gold mirrors. And then Prabhupada said one time about gold, not this just cheap gold, but like molten gold, like the most radiant gold you can think of. And then his fragrance is like millions and millions of lotus flowers. Like all the heavenly and earthly lotus flowers were humbled by his fragrance. And then millions of cupids, or one cupid, like a million cupids in the form of one, or millions of cupids, all faint by the glance of by being in his presence and seeing him. And Rupa Goswami has a parallel verse where he's saying the same thing, that like, I think Rupa Goswami said that millions of cupids, or cupids, one or the other, that one cupid, millions of cupid in the form of one, faints to see Mahaprabhu. And then Guru Maharaj said that millions of cupids looking at Mahaprabhu all faint. So they were like very similar compositions. And then Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj said that I see that this verse has the same quality as Rupa Goswami. So.
Jai. And Srila Gurudev pointed out that Premadama Deva Stotram, that meter, Premadama Deva Meva, Naumi Gaura Sundaram, he pointed out it's very difficult to compose in that meter. And then not only that the last word of, is it Premadama Deva Stotram? The last word of each line is the first word of the next line. Am I correct or not correct?
That's a different one.
That's Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Param.
Yeah, one of those ones.
Yeah. Anyway, he said very difficult to compose in that way. And also, something must be in the stars. And Kumkumdiri's got us all started here, because this last week also, with Keshavanandapu, we were reflecting, about the kirtans and things, and one of us, it was me, anyway, humbly, we kind of thought we cannot compare ourselves with Gurudev, and Guru Maharaj at all. But if we were to make a comparison on the matter of the kirtans and knowing what we sing, we were discussing this point, that we are not even at the beginning stage of Gurudev when he joined to Guru Maharaj, what to speak of life with Guru Maharaj and being honed by him, in the sense that Guru Maharaj, as Gurudev said, tick-marked 32 songs of Sharanagati for Gurudev to remember. And it wasn't for him to remember the sounds. It was for him to remember the Bengali, but the meaning behind it. So from the very beginning, Gurudev knew what he was singing and knew the implication of the words, not just knowing the words, but knew the, like we were saying about the Sanskrit, to know the Sanskrit properly, we need to know it from an early age. And Gurudev, knowing the Sadhu Bhasa of Bengali also, because of his father singing kirtans, etc., he knew what he was singing from the very first day he came to the mat. And here we are, 40 plus years on. And certainly, yes, I have the songbook and always try to remind myself, like, what is there. And we do like to have the word for word for the kirtans that we sing. And from maybe K songs, I think I got it. I got quite a lot of the word for word from the web.
K songs are pretty important.
K songs, yes.
Those for Krishna songs, I guess.
K for Krishna. K is for Krishna.
But I also just wanted to add one more story. That's Gurudev speaking. He was also talking about Guru Maharaj giving him different chores about memorizing the scriptures or reading the scriptures. So he said, it will be good for you to remember some verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then Gurudev said, then I memorize some verses. And then he adds, oh, almost all Chaitanya Charitamrita memorized.
I was just about to add that, because I've heard Gurudev say that, very humbly saying.
Yes, and humbly saying, that's it.
Yeah.
And Krishna Karnamrita, this is something above our qualification, like probably for me, it's above my qualification ever. But he was challenged by one simple-hearted person saying, well, you're not allowing us, not giving us permission to read this scripture, but we hear you reciting it. And then actually, I was there at least twice when Govinda Maharaj was just continuously for a long time, like more than half an hour, was reciting Krishna Karnamrita. No comments, nothing. It was just relishing. It was just a few people in the room. And I didn't even know in the beginning, Goswami Maharaj told me that was Krishna Karnamrita. And he said that why are you know that and you're not allowing us? Why is that? He said, humbly, he said. He could have chastised that person, it was his disciple. He said humbly that, well, Guru Maharaj asked me to edit it, to preserve it for the future generations.
Yep.
And while I'm doing that, I memorize it, just enter my heart. There's nothing I could do. And this is something he commented about. Good to recite, good to tell, but good
for sharing. No,
good for sharing. Good for reciting, but not for sharing. Something along those lines. I forgot what it was exactly. But just one last story. We were just recently, we were in Galta in Jaipur with Keshavananda, Ramsundar, Krishna Priya, myself. And we're visiting the temples. We're visiting the temple where the debates happened with Baladev Vidyabhushan and all the representatives of different groups and sampradayas, that very temple. And then the pujari was very friendly. And he took us to the inner chambers. And in the inner chambers, he said, we have a Sanskrit school here. And we saw a bunch of kids of different ages, let's say maybe 8 to 15, something like that, 16. They were all there, tilaks, shaved, probably very Brahminical. And then he was very proud. He said, you recite something. And then they started reciting different prayers. And I thought, we have to protect the prestige of our line. So I said, we have this young American boy here. So how about you hear his recitation? So Ram did protect the prestige of our line. And he recited, I think he recited Premadhana Devastotram verse. You should have seen their faces. I probably have the photo somewhere. Their mouths were open. They were like mesmerized. They couldn't even, relate to that. Is it real or they're dreaming? This white boy, this tourist looking like white boy, started reciting this beautiful Sanskrit and a very, very difficult meter, as we just mentioned. So another credit goes to him. So Jai Gauranga, you have a lot to catch up with. You're not a brahmachari. That's a challenge.
The Australian Jai Gauranga.
Both of them.
Oh,
That was
both of
one.
them, right? The Sweet
Yeah.
Lakes and Australia.
Yeah.
But where's Jai Gauranga now? Did he disappear? Oh, he's been replaced by Mahaprabhu. Oh my goodness. Hare Krishna. All right. Well, we've got some Brazilian representation in the middle of the night in Brazil. We've got Brindavaneshri Didi with us, and we saw you as you arrived and gave some respect. And we've got our not in the middle of the night, but early in the morning representation here too, seated in the room just next door. We've got Priya Sundari Devi Rasi and Leela Moy Prabhu. So perhaps we can pass the microphone over to them. They're both here in Vila Govinda, and we have all kind of arrived from different places this week. And so Vila Govinda is quite a hive of activity, and they're with us. So I think they must have a contribution to say, something from the heart.
Adhanava Pranam to all of you. Good to see you all. I don't know. I wasn't prepared for that, but I don't know. It's a big pleasure for me to be here. Finally, to be here in Italy with our Italy family, and it's been really amazing to stay here and to stay here and to try to serve somehow. I don't know how to do this, but I'm sure for the guidance, with the guidance of the devotees, I can try to do something. And I don't have this capacity to memorize verses. One thing that I can do is just to try to serve, and that's what we're keep trying. I don't know. Maybe you can say something. I don't know.
Yes, Priya Sundari Didi, you have a contribution, I can see.
I actually took some notes because one of these, I think 1 or 2 days ago you played an audio from Shri Guru Maharaj, Shri Shridhar Maharaj, and he was talking about how we should not find blindly the traditions and the circle of life, but instead stop and ask what is the purpose of life, and ask ourselves these questions. And I remember this when you were, well, with the topic of memorizing songs and just singing them. I realized that I have not at all the capacity to, like, I have not dedicated my resources to studying that, so it's my homework now. But also that this is part of the why we are here, right? We have not to just follow these, like any of the traditions that we have here, and there are some rituals, there are some etiquette, some things to follow, and even that falls under the following the traditions and why we are here and all. And so it's good to keep in mind. And let me see what Guru Maharaj said. That, no, actually, it was you who said, not Guru Maharaj. Apologies. And you were saying that just like in school, we have professors who will teach us the books, and then also we have the masters who have studied the matters of spiritual life very deeply. And so they brought us these books and these scriptures and all their teachings, and we should also take the time to really study them and dedicate ourselves to acquiring. And then you said that there would be like in school, there would also be tests. There would also be a way for us to learn more and more every time and increase the capacity. And yes, so it was a nice metaphor. And this is, I'm very happy to be here also in Vila Govinda. It's so good. And yes, good to be around devotees who are so capacitated. I learn a lot.
Jai, and everyone's happy to have you around the devotees. And you see, everybody here is busy doing something always. There's always something going on. And you are also a busy person. Also, Leela Moy Prabhu, doing something, contributing. This is our practice of seva. It becomes very much stronger when we're in the ashram. And it's always the time when we can get to good routine, good everything, and then keep that in our daily practice as we go on our various travels in the world. I was going to say, when we go back home, but I'm not sure where your home is, because you are always traveling with your work, etc. And you've been here before, but I was surprised that Leela Moipu had not been here before, because he's always here constantly, I mean, in Zooms for so long now. And so it feels like he's been here. And then yesterday, perhaps he said, no, it's my first time here. I said, what? So some first impression. Please share just a little bit of first impression, Leela Moipu, something perhaps you've learned already by being with the devotees.
Basically what you said, it feels like home. It feels like already being here for a while. And yeah, to be with the devotees, it is like the real place that we should be. And even when I was in Brazil, even far from the Italian devotee, it feels like they're always around me, helping me, pushing me to do something, you know. And yeah, basically it's this.
Jai. Well, Brazil and Italy, even geographically speaking, are side by side in the minds of the Brazilians and the Italians. Everybody else sees that there's a whole Atlantic Ocean between the two. So anyhow, very similar. Beautiful. And by the way, I just checked in the chat box, and Sevarupati is given that Kejabi song with the translation. And Marie, she's given some comments here. And in her comments, it makes me also think some thoughts that it is very good when we've got something, we know what we're singing. And you're mentioning how you know some of the prayers, the Christian prayers, because you brought up with them. And I know that at least when I went to church a long time ago, they did sing in English. They had the songs in English, and no doubt there was some Latin there, but they had songs in English. So we knew what we were singing. And there is one, let me just see if I can quickly find it. There is one verse in English poetry form, which does capture my heart, and we repeat it often, and it's the last verse of Hari Nama Maha Mantra Sava Mantra Sa, the composition by Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Gurudev. He's explaining the 10 offenses one by one by one, verse 1, 2, 3, 4, each dedicated to the verse, the first offense, second offense, etc. Then that last verse, it says, casting off these 10 offenses, leaving no exception, those pure souls who chant the name in holy congregation, the miracle of love for Krishna, they will surely savor. The name divine himself will shine within their hearts forever. So this is one example where successfully it's come through into poetic English, but it's so sweet and it's so promising, and it's in English, it's our own language, we can feel word by word. So yes, I've also thought that one day the songs, we may have a capable person who can give in poetry form without diluting the meaning. In English, some of the kirtans we have. And in in Shri Shri Prapana Jivanamritam, there are some songs with some versified English translation. At one time, we did try singing them, but not too successfully. Now I can't even remember them, which ones we... There are a couple we tried to sing, but so many years ago now, and it kind of didn't feel right somehow. So like this, we can say them, we can recite them. And Marie mentioning, introduced a friend to Prema Damadeva Stotram, he said his heart was melted by the end of the second verse. Yes. And then that second verse that Ramchandra Prabhu quoted, Sevarupa Devi Rasi has put there. Oh, now she's popped in the chat box as well. E Dasha Aparada, Korya Vajana. But we do lose the line breaks when it comes into the chat box of Zoom, at least in my chat box, we lose the line breaks. Casting off these 10 offenses, leaving no exception. Those pure souls who chant the name in holy congregation, the miracle of love for Krishna, they will surely savor. The name divine himself will shine within their hearts forever. Hare Krishna. Marie saying, English is blasted hard to set to regular meters. Thank you for your polite English, your expressive polite English. Hare Krishna. And seated beside me, Ishwaranand from Sweet Lake City. Are you ready to express your heart to the sweet devotees on Bhakti Basics? Something you'd like to say?
Yes.
Yes, okay. No, I mean, we're not putting you on the spot if you're happy. And Prabhu's just come from Zambia, believe it or not. So he's from Salt Lake City, but he went to Zambia. His mum is engaged, or his auntie is engaged in so charity work with schools, education, etc. So they were visiting some of the projects. And from there, he's come here to Vila Govinda Ashram. So Ishwananda, a few words.
Dandavats pranam to all the devotees and sincere seekers on the Zoom and on the Facebook Live. I'm observing so many good examples here. I could name names, but I'm just observing so many good examples here and so many wonderful things that I'm observing. But coming from Zambia and seeing the desperate approach for mundane education in order to escape the cycle of poverty, it was interesting to think of this as far as approaching the Dham here and the rare opportunity for a transcendental education and the chance to have that, and the fact that it is constantly there is an outreach of affection coming from His Divine Grace Srila Gurudev, and so that's my comment, is that there is a really rare opportunity for this type of education and to memorize these songs. And I am not good at memorizing, but maybe I can start with the 10 fences.
Jai. And we can, all of us maybe start with remembering the English of casting off these 10 offenses, leaving no exception. So that's a sweet, sweet place to start. An interesting analogy, by the way, seeing the parallel that in Africa, they are hungry for education to get out of poverty. And this education of Krishna consciousness is to get out of all poverty. Really, the cause of all the difficulties is our lack of Krishna consciousness, lack of awareness of how to be a devotee, what to practice, what to do. So, real education. Jai. Hare Krishna. Yes, would Chintamani Devi Dasi like to share a word or two? Oh, by the way, Chintamani, we were at the house of Tom and Inna, is it? Tom and Inna. We did a house program, well-attended house program, and such sweet, sincere seekers. And so this family is a family in Ukraine, and they've built their house. Actually, they built 3 houses, I think, side by side on Vastu Siddhi, or Vastu Shastra, so not Vastu Siddhi. So they have some appreciation for Vedic things, and the knowledge that's given in the Veda of how to live in harmony with nature. But really, they've accepted this next step. It's not just a matter of living harmoniously in the environment here, but what's the positive thing? And so they've been very much appreciative of the message of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, the message of Mahaprabhu. So we had a very nice program there. They looked after us so sweetly. And yourself, Chintamani, and Mohanananda, you are very much the ones who are to be given credit for them coming so much forward. And so that everybody knows, they were in the audience of a public program that we did. And then we always ask that, after the program, then there's time to mingle, to ask questions informally with each other. And they approached to Chintamani and to Mohanananda Prabhu, this couple, and anyhow, they brought them in, and they were good ambassadors for Guru and Gauranga. So Chintamani, would you like to say a word or two, or just make an expression, whatever this expression means, the flow of, the waves of Krishna Prema? Okay, the Sankirtan, okay, the 2 arms up in the air are the oars by which the boat crosses over to the other side, Mahaprabhu's boat. Your microphone is off.
I'm just giving you all a taste of Sri Dham Mayapur from ISKCON Grihastha area, where I've been given the privilege to take care of this devotee's apartment here. Our update is I ditched the morning program over at now Vishnu Priya's place. We are feeling separation from Lakshmi Priya and Leela Sundar Prabhus who have departed Mayapur Dham with their baby Shuklambar Das Brahmachari. And Vishnu Priya deity is taking care of a Gornitai deities there, and we're doing daily morning program with Sripad Dandi Maharaj and Bhakta Gurujit, who is from a Sikh background, has come from Calcutta and is very enthusiastic to learn about the science of Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, and taking shelter of Sripad Sajjan Maharaj, who we're also meeting with. He's distributing Srila Gurudev's books every single day in Yoga Peet. He's got a book table of this small book, actually. What is the tiny book? I don't know where, actually, I just got one. In Search of the Original Source. Is that the book? Yeah, I should know. And I was unable to extend my visa, my tourist visa. I no longer can be a tourist here in India, so I'm trying to follow your instructions, try to stay in one place and do the daily program. I'm trying. It's really difficult for me, but I have to leave the country again, so I'm going to Australia. I have my ticket booked for 2 weeks from today, and I will go on a little pilgrimage there and feel separation from Sri Dham Mayapur. And I will be in touch on Back to Bhakti Basics. Thank you, Maharaj, for your association, and thank you, Leela Moy, for hosting. I look forward to this, and I love you all so much, and I love seeing everybody on camera, and I love my spiritual family. Jai, 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 jai.
Jai, words from the heart expressed through the mouth. Very beautiful. All right, dear devotees, and Gangalila's got a heart also, a pumping heart, a pumping heart, a star-spangled heart. Star-spangled heart on our machine. Radha Sundari Didi also in Mayapur. So Jai Gauranga Prabhu, you're going to have some Jeev Jago, wake up in devotional service with Chintamani Devi Rasi's presence. Just see We look forward to hearing Chintamani's news from Australia. And, oh, Priyanananda is with us. We didn't greet you when you came in. Please excuse, but Priyanananda is here with us too. And all those on Facebook who we can't see this week, unfortunately. But to all of you on Facebook and seeing the recorded version, our appreciation and obeisances to all the devotees, appreciation to everybody, and encouragement. And as Chintamani says, we love you all because it is a family. It's in the affectionate family of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. And they love you. Don't know if they love me, but they love you. No, we know they love us. They care for us with that guardianship kind of affection. I mean, really, we cannot deny. We don't think, oh, my father loves me. But our father, they love us in their particular mood and way. So let us go on nourished by the affection, the caring affection of our guardians and of each other. It is very important. So much appreciation to Kumkum Devi Rasi, to Paramananda Prabhu and the team in Thailand, and to each of you who have spoken, and our Brazilian representation, and Brindavaneshri now past midnight. My goodness, well done, well done. And for everybody, let us give our obeisances, and first of all, jais to Srila Gurudev, to Srila Guru Maharaj, to Srila Prabhupada, to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga, to all the Vaishnavas everywhere, to all of those who are present here today, and with our obeisances. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya eva cha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Jai Shri Bhaktiranjan Madhusudana Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna. All right, so let us all continue our days and evenings in the mood of service. Nitai
Vilamoy,
Gaur.
are you actually in a different room? Maharaj, you're in Italy, right?
Yes.
But I keep looking. You're just in the different rooms in the same building.
Yes, because he's got the master computer. If we have two computers at the same time, we get this audio kind of strange things happen. So he's the master, and we are happily the servants within the Zoom. He's the controller of the Zoom. So yes, they're just next door, and literally just next door. We shall go and give our physical, as it were. No, not our physical obeisances, our direct obeisances in just a moment. All right, dear devotees, have a good week, or have a good few days in Seva. We'll meet again very soon. Pavan Krishnavu and Kamala, there in Thailand too, and to each of you, one by one, obeisances, all best wishes. Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari. Amara Ashchi.